All right, so we'll just go ahead and start sitting. I'm going to sit up on the edge of a blanket. So you can sit on the edge of a blanket if you want, or a bolster, or if it's comfortable to just sit on the floor, you can do that. And just try to make yourself as comfortable as possible sitting. I know this isn't the most comfortable way to sit, but do your best. And if you ever need to straighten one of your legs, if your knee hurts or whatever, you can always do that. So you're just going to try to sit up nice and tall. And just letting your hands rest in your lap or on your legs. Maybe close your eyes, close your mouth, and start to breathe in and out through your nose. Just starting with a couple of really deep, slow breaths. When you inhale, feel your breath rise up into your chest and your lungs and your upper back. When you exhale, feel all of that kind of relax and descend. Just letting go of your Monday, your trip getting here. Oh, well, you didn't have a trip getting here, did you? Whatever's going on with you in your world today. Bring your hands to your heart and take a moment to set an intention for your practice tonight. Just remembering why you're here and what you need. Then release your hands and we'll take some neck rolls. So taking your chin to your chest and then right ear to right shoulder. Lean your head back and to the left and back to your chest. So just around in a circle a couple of times on your own. You can have your eyes closed or open. Just noticing what you're feeling in your body as you go along. And then switch and go the opposite direction. Remember that you never want to feel a sensation that feels sharp or pinchy. And then come back up to neutral. And just take a side bend, reach your right hand out to the side, spread your fingers out. Reach your left arm up and over with your palm down. And then we'll go to the other side, left hand to the floor, palm of the hand on the floor, reach your right arm up and over. And then just on your own, go side to side a few times. You might start to let yourself go down a little bit lower after a couple of times. So you're just really paying attention to how this feels in your side and in your ribs. And just moving as much as you need to feel a little bit of stretch. You can also, I used to always instruct people to keep their pelvis stable, but you can allow your pelvis to move with your spine. So you might kind of lift off a little on one side and then lift off a little on the other side. And then come back into the center. And just take your chin to your chest, interlace your fingers together and let your hands rest on the back of your head so you feel a little stretch in the back of your neck. I'm going to try not to yell into the microphone. It's right here by my mouth. And then keeping your hands behind your head, lift your head up, open your elbows out wide to the sides. Just maybe closing your eyes, noticing where you feel it. For me, it's armpits and upper back. And then just letting your head lean back into your hands a little bit if that feels okay. Not leaning back enough to where you're feeling it a lot in your lower back. But again, just focusing on the upper back, the chest. And then come back to the center. Release your hands to your knees, and we'll take a couple of seated cat-cows. So you're inhaling as you push your chest forward and pull your shoulders back. And then exhaling as you round and bring your chin to your chest. Inhaling, chest forward, shoulders back. And exhaling as you round and tuck. Maybe closing your eyes if you want. Remember, these movements can be more or less deep, depending on how they feel. So you're not looking to aggravate your spine. You're just looking to kind of warm it up. And then come back into a neutral position and just bring your hands to your heart. And we'll take a couple of seated salutations. So with the inhale, reaching arms out and up over your head, make it a big circle. Maybe the palms touch and come down to your heart. Inhale, reach up. And exhaling, hands to your heart. Reaching up with your inhale. And exhaling, hands to your heart. One more time, reaching up with your inhale. And exhaling, hands to your heart. Good. And then bring your hands behind you. Take your legs straight out in front of you. And we're going to do kind of like a modified pigeon. So taking your right ankle over your left knee. And then bringing that left foot flat. And you can flex your right foot. And I'm sitting back pretty far away from my leg. But if you wanted to make this more of an intense hip stretch, you can sit up a little bit taller so your chest comes closer to your leg. If you feel steady where you are, maybe close your eyes. Make sure your back isn't rounded. Have a little bit of space between your teeth. Take one more breath. And then you'll switch legs. So take your right leg straight, left ankle onto the right knee, the left foot flexed, and then just bring your right foot flat. And I like to just kind of bring my hands behind me and sit back. But again, the back is straight, not rounded. And if you want to feel it more intensely, you'll just sit up more and get closer to your leg. So finding that right place where you're feeling a little bit of sensation, but you're not overdoing it. And then just connecting with your breath. Take one more breath. Straighten your right leg. Bring both legs out in front of you, and then take your legs wide apart. So wide could be like a V or could be a little wider if you want. I'm still sitting up on the edge of that blanket and just walking the hands forward enough. Doesn't need to be a lot, just to get a little bit of stretch in your hamstrings. You can let your head kind of hang down, maybe close your eyes if you want. Breathing through your nose. Take a couple more breaths. Make your way back up, and then swing your legs around. Come on to your hands and knees. So if you have a blanket, you can move that out of the way. Or if you need extra padding under your knees, you could put the blanket under your knees. So with the knees under the hips and the wrists under the shoulders, you're going to extend your right leg back behind you. Make sure you're not taking your foot higher than your butt. And then either stay with both hands on the floor or try to reach your left hand out in front of you. So you have opposite arm and leg. And just trying to find your balance. Breathe. Take one more breath. Ah. And then release that side. And then switch. Left leg extends back behind you. Trying to keep your hips level as well. So try not to hike the left hip up. And then possibly right hand out in front of you. If you can, find your balance. Additional, you could try to pull your navel towards your spine a little bit. Take one more breath. Release that. Good. And then from hands and knees, reach your right hand out to the side, or you could open your arm up more if you want. And then bring your right shoulder, sweep it down toward the mat, but don't rest yet. Inhale, reach it up. And exhaling the shoulder down. Inhale, sweep your arm up. And exhaling the shoulder down. And just rest your shoulder down, rest your head down. Either keep your left wrist right under your left elbow, and you can kind of gently press into your hand to twist a little bit more towards the ceiling. Or if you like, you could walk your left hand forward so your arm is straight. And just take a couple of breaths. Trying to bring your breath up into your upper back, your shoulders, wherever you're feeling the tension. Come back to your hands and knees. And then we'll go the other way. Inhaling your left arm out. Sweeping your left shoulder toward the mat. Inhale, reach your arm up. And sweep your left shoulder down. Last time, reaching your left arm up. And sweeping your left shoulder down. Just resting your shoulder down, resting your head down. And again, either keeping the right wrist under the elbow and gently pressing into your hand to increase the twist, or walking your right hand forward so your right arm is straight, and more just kind of relaxing. Trying to feel the sensation of the inhales up in your upper back, and wherever you're feeling tight and restricted. Pull your right hand back in. Come back to hands and knees. And then we'll do a shoulder stretch. So you can sit either on your feet like this, or if this doesn't work, you could put a block between your feet and sit on that so you have a little bit more height. You could also stay up on your knees like this if you don't have a block and it doesn't work to sit on your feet. And always, of course, you can always just sit on your butt as well if none of these on the knee options work. So reaching your right arm up, bringing the palm of your hand toward the middle of your upper back. And just taking a breath there. And you could leave the left hand down, or you could bring your left hand up to your right elbow. Take a breath there. You could keep your hand on your elbow, or you could take your left arm behind your back and reach up toward the other hand. And the hands may find each other, they may not. If both hands are behind your body, the palms are facing opposite directions. Just 2 more breaths on this side. And then release your arms and switch. Take your left arm up, and palm of the hand in the middle of the upper back. Make sure your arm is next to your head and not behind your head, pushing it down. Either just let this right hand stay down or bring the right hand up to the left elbow. Take a breath. Either keeping both arms overhead or taking your right hand behind your back, reaching up for the other hand. You don't want to feel anything pinchy in the shoulders. So don't force anything here, backing away from any sensations that you're not sure of. Take a couple of deep breaths up into the area where you feel tight. And then release your arms. And we're going to do a chest opener. I hope everybody has, can you hear me? Yeah, I just see somebody looking, so I'm like, can you hear me? Okay. I hope everybody has either blocks or a blanket or a bolster or something. If not, we're not going to be here very long, so don't worry about it. But if you have a blanket, you're just going to roll it up and make a roll like this, just a little roll. The roll is going to be the easier way to do it. It's going to be softer, obviously. The blanket is softer. The blocks are going to be more hardcore. So you're going to come just to where you're laying back on this roll, and it's along your spine. And it's probably going to be more comfortable if you get where your head is resting on the blanket as well and not just falling off. So depending on the length of your torso, you'll have to situate it so that your head's on the blanket as well. And you'll just have your arms down at your side. So this is a pretty gentle chest opener. And the feet can either be flat or the legs can be straight. And I know all of you have taken class with me in person. So we've probably done this before, but the other option, the less gentle option, is to use the blocks. So you have one block under your upper back, and the other block under your head as a pillow. So this just lifts you up. It does, a very similar thing, but it lifts you up a little bit higher, and the surface is much less forgiving. So just getting yourself set up. Maybe closing your eyes. As always, taking some deep breaths. As you inhale, you'll feel your body kind of press into whatever you're laying on. If you're on blocks, you'll feel that a lot more than if you're on a blanket. So you'll feel that resistance on the inhale. And then on the exhale, just try to relax. Just 4 more breaths. So last breath. And then to come out of it, you could either roll off to the side, especially if you're on a blanket, or if you're up on the blocks. I like to bring my hand behind my head and then just kind of sit up, but using my hand to support my head. And we could have stayed there much longer, but since I didn't know if everybody had this stuff, I didn't want to stay there for too long. So from there, I'm gonna have you come to lying on your stomach. Have your legs straight, legs parallel to each other. So feet about hips width, toes pointed. And then we'll come into a Sphinx. So taking your arms out in front of you. If the elbows are out in front of the shoulders, like mine are, it's going to be easier. If you start to walk your elbows in towards your chest, where your elbows are more under your shoulders, then you're going to feel it more. You'll have more back bend. So you can either keep your wrists in line with your elbows, or you can bring your palms together. You could keep your head up straight, or you could let your head hang down, whatever your preference is for your neck. Take a couple more breaths. Good. And then come on down to the mat, and you can just make a little pillow with your hand and rest your forehead on that. Or you could turn your head to the side if it feels better on your neck. Just take a couple breaths here, let everything relax. Good. So that Sphinx is a passive back bend. We are basically using our arms to help us to be in that shape. But this back bend, locust, is an active back bend. So we're not really going to be using the arms. You're just going to be using the strength of your back to lift into it. So with your arms at your sides and the backs of the hands on the floor, You'll lift your head off the floor and lift your chest up, just lifting as high as you can without pain to where you're feeling the back of your body engage. And then instead of just letting the shoulders be relaxed, gently draw your shoulders towards each other on your back. Try to breathe. Take another breath. And then bring your hands in front of you again. Rest your forehead down on your hands. And just actively try to let your back relax. And just release any gripping of the glutes that you're doing. One more breath. And then we'll do that again. So bringing your arms at your sides, backs of the hands on the floor. I'm going to start with my forehead on the ground. This time we're going to lift the feet off. So the feet are lifted, the toes are pointed. My glutes are working to lift my legs. And then I'm going to lift my head and my chest as well. So now I'm using the whole back of my body, the muscles along my spine, my glutes, my hamstrings, my calves. Really important to have strength in the back of the body, even though this isn't very relaxing because we sit, on the whole back side of our body a lot and it doesn't get much action. So all kinds of problems can result from that. So it's important to put a little effort into building some strength back there. Lower your feet down, lower your head down, maybe making that pillow with your hands again. Taking a deep breath, just letting the back of your body relax. One more breath. Bring your hands next to your chest and just press into your hands. Push up to your hands and knees. Good. And then after doing all this shoulder and upper back stuff, chest stuff, we're going to do dolphin, just 5 breaths in dolphin. So dolphin looks like down dog, but you're on your forearms instead of your hands. So coming down to your elbows, try to see that your elbows are directly under your shoulders and not out here. Wrists in line with the elbows is going to be a little tougher. Palms together is going to be a little easier. And then you just let your head relax. Most people's head will not touch the floor. And you'll lift your hips up. Just let your head hang heavy. So feet closer together will be a little more intense. Feet wider apart, a little easier. And then also feet closer to the elbows is going to be a little harder. Breathe. As the tension starts to build in your shoulders, try to release it out through your breath instead of holding it, holding your breath, clenching your teeth. Just notice all those patterns that we do whenever we meet with resistance and try to relax and breathe. If you're sick of this dolphin, you can come down to your knees. I'm going to take one more breath. Come down to the knees. And then we're going to sit back in child pose. If you do happen to have blocks and you like the variation of child pose where you put your elbows on the blocks, you can do that. Otherwise, just your regular child's pose will also be good. So the child's pose with the blocks, you just have one elbow on each block and letting your head come down. One more breath. Yeah, come out of child's pose. And then we'll just come into a standing forward bend. Have your feet hips width or could be a little bit wider. Have your knees bent enough to where you feel to where the stretch isn't too much, but straight enough to where your hamstrings are getting a stretch. You can just let your shoulders kind of be relaxed and droop down around your neck. Make sure not clenching your teeth. It might feel good to move your head around a little bit to release any tension from your neck. And then lift your chest halfway. And we'll take a twist. Right hand on the floor, or you can have your right hand up on a block if you'd like more height. Right knee bends and left arm reaches up. And you can keep reaching the left arm up, or you could drop the left arm behind the back. Think of the top of the head and the left hip are moving away from each other and not towards each other. And then go the other way. Left hand on the floor or the block. Left knee bends, right arm reaches up. The right hip is drawing toward the back of the mat. The top of the head is reaching forward. So nice long spine, long waist, long neck. If you want, allowing that right arm to drop behind the back. And I'm not really reaching for anything. I'm just letting the hand kind of hang out. Take another breath. Unwind. If you were using a block, you can set that aside. Bring your feet into hips width apart. If you want to measure, it's about 2 fist distance between your feet. Slide your hands up the front of your shins, lift your chest halfway. And then slide your hands down, fold forward. Rise up to standing, reach your arms out and up over your head. Maybe the palms touch. And then hands to your heart. And we'll just take some half salutations, reaching up with your inhale. Folding in with your exhale. Lengthening halfway with your inhale. Letting your back engage here. And then letting your back round as you fold in. Rise back up, reach your arms out and up over your head. Maybe the palms touch. And hands draw down to the heart. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, fold forward. Let your head go. Slide your hands up your shins. Try to elongate your spine and let your back have to work a little bit here before you fold and let it relax. Rise back up, reach your arms up. And bring your hands to your heart. And then just to make the back work a little bit harder, if you want to, a little bit of a different variation here with the arms. So you'll inhale, reach your arms up the same way. But then when we go into a forward bend, you bring your hands into prayer, like at your belly, and just keep them there. So you're not reaching for the floor. And you're keeping your hands there as you lift halfway. And then keeping your hands there as you fold forward. And then all the way back up, you can reach your arms up, big circle, palms touch, and hands to your heart. So it just makes you use your back a little bit more than if you're using your arms. So one more time, reach up with your inhale. Folding in with the exhale, bring your hands just together if that works. And then inhale, lengthen halfway. Letting your back work a little bit. And then folding with your exhale. Rise all the way back up. Reach your arms up. Bring your hands to your heart. And then just Samastitihi, relax your arms at your sides. I always like to close my eyes in Samastitihi. So if you feel steady and if that feels nice, maybe close your eyes. And just check in with how you're feeling in your body. One of my favorite things about yoga is just this feeling of embodiment, of being in your body, because I'm a very brain heavy person. So I have a whole life inside of my brain, and it feels distinctly different when I'm in my body and instead of in my brain, and I like it. One more breath. Step your feet out a little bit wider. Bringing your hands behind your back, interlacing your fingers or using a strap or a towel if that feels better. Just kind of wiggle your shoulders towards the back of your body for a moment. We've done a lot of chest and shoulder stuff, so this hopefully will feel good. I won't say should. Squeeze your shoulders back, lift your chest, and then fold forward. Let your fists reach away from your back. Let your head hang heavy. And if it feels good, you take all that tension that you feel, take a deep inhale, then open your mouth, exhale, sound of awe. One more time. One more breath. Release your hands. And then either come into a high squat if that's better for your knees, where you're resting your knees up on your elbows. Or maybe you come up on the balls of your feet and then drop your butt down towards your heels. You can also bring your feet flat if that's an option. Either keeping your hands on the floor for balance or bringing your palms together. Just take one more breath. Good. And then make your way onto your hands and knees. And we're going to come back to that pose that we did in the beginning. It's similar. It's called, some people call it bird dog. I don't know what else to call it, but I don't really like that name. But it's all I got. So left leg back behind you. Right arm out in front of you. And you're either going to hold there or you're going to tap your hand to your knee. If you want to make it tougher than that, you would tap your elbow to your knee instead of your hand. But just notice overall if you feel any different in this pose than you did the first time we did it. That's probably enough. Switch sides. Extending your left leg back behind you. Reaching your right leg behind you, left arm in front of you. And then either holding still or tapping hand to knee or elbow to knee. On the back leg, making sure you're not taking your heel higher than your butt. Couple more if you can. Good, let that go. And then swing your legs around, have a seat. And we'll come on to our back. If you have a block, have that nearby. If you don't, no worries. So we'll do an active bridge first. So feet hips width, at least. I like mine a little wider, to be honest. Feet pointed pretty much straight ahead. You can take your arms at your sides and just very gently tuck your shoulders under your chest. Not enough so that you feel like nailed to the floor, but just enough so that your shoulders are moving in the direction of the floor instead of the direction of the ceiling. So it's very subtle. And then press into your feet. Lift your hips up using the strength of the back of your body. So you want to feel the legs working, doing their job, the glutes working. The muscles of the spine. Couple more breaths. Slow your back down. Just let everything rest. And then we'll lift up one more time. This is where the block could come in if you want. Lifting your hips up and just placing that block under your butt for support. If you don't have a block, then you're just making it an active bridge again, where you're using your strength instead of using a block. And I'm not going to stay here too long, just in case I'm the only one that has a block. Press into your feet, lift your hips, move your block out of the way. And then come into Baddha Konasana, so soles of the feet together, knees apart, letting your knees open up to the sides. This is another place where if you had some blocks, you could use those for support. Couple more breaths in this pose. Then bring your knees into your chest. Take your arms out at your sides like a T. Just let your knees slowly go side to side. Just noticing how that feels on your lower back. And then taking a twist, letting your legs fall over to the right. Maybe resting your right hand on your left knee. And you could keep the back of your head on the floor, or you could turn your head. If you turn the opposite direction of your legs, it's a little more challenging. If you turn your head towards your legs, it's a little easier. You turned your head, bring it back to the center and twist the other way. Take your legs over to the left side. Maybe rest your left hand on top of your right knee. Either keep the back of your head on the floor or maybe turn your head to the right, away from the legs, or to make it easier on the neck, towards the legs. And then take your right arm over to meet your left, so you're lying on your left side. And then press your way up to seated. And just come to a cross-legged position for a moment. Just try to get as comfortable as you can. It might feel good to kind of lean forward and move your butt back so your pelvis is level. And try to sit up nice and tall, but without being rigid. And let your face and your jaw and your shoulders be relaxed. And then we're going to keep the left leg bent and take your right leg straight. And then just walking your hands forward. So we're not going toward the leg, we're just going forward. So it's like a wide leg forward bend, but we're just doing it with one leg straight instead of both. And just finding a place where you feel the stretch in the right leg, the right hamstring, probably. One more breath. Make your way back up. Then switch. Take your left leg straight. Bring your right foot in. And then again, just folding forward, walking your hands forward. So we're probably mostly just feeling the stretch in the left leg. And then make your way back up. And we'll take both legs wide apart. Folding forward again. Just noticing as you're here, whether you have a tendency to kind of overdo it or a tendency to underdo it. Let's consider moving more towards a place of balance. And then make your way back up. Take your legs straight out in front of you, Paschimottanasana. And just make sure that your pelvis isn't tucked under, your back's not rounded, right? So really important that your pelvis is neutral so that when you go forward, you're hinging at your hips. And we're getting ready to lay down and do Shavasana. So this doesn't need to be like the craziest, bendiest forward bend you ever did. The idea is just to be relaxing and calming. You will hear me warning you guys like not to overdo it a ton. That's because that's my habit, is to just always be trying like way too hard. So hopefully that's not something that resonates with you and you're wondering why I'm always saying that. Make your way back up. And then making your way onto your back for Shavasana. And I usually bring my knees in and then just kind of roll back. But however you know it's safe for you to get to your back, you can do that. And I like to lay in constructive rest most of the time. My back likes that better than laying flat. I'm going to take a blanket under my head just for a little bit of support. And you can either have your arms down at your side, which is nice. It's this feeling of like open, free, relaxed. Sometimes I like to have a lot of times actually, I like to rest my hands on my body instead of having the arms out. Because I like the sensory experience of being able to feel my breath. It helps me be a little bit more here. So with my hands on my body, I'm just feeling this very subtle rising and falling with my breath, feeling that with the palms of my hands. And begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers, your toes. Either bring your feet flat or bring your knees to your chest. And find your way up to seated. You can roll to your side and press up or rock up. Bring your hands to your heart. Thank you all so much for sharing your Monday night with me. I'm honored to be a part of your yoga. The best within me sees the best within you. Namaste. Oh, there it goes.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good to see you. Bye, Julie. Bye, Sharon.
Bye.
Bye, Jamie.